Welcome to the Popish plot. I'm Mike.
I'm Jessica.
And I'm Nate.
And today's plot is Be a Catholic Nerd.
I'm good at this. I got the high honor roll. I got the little ribbons and tassels. It was awesome. I take classes for fun, and my kids look at me funny.
Mm-hmm. You tell them to do their schools, and they're like, "But why would I do that?" And you're like, "It's fun." They're like, "No, it's not."
I did graduate with honors after the first time when I dropped out.
So
we're told to drop out.
It was strongly suggested.
So, attentive viewers will note that the set is decorated differently than normal. We have here...
We
Where all
constantly
these
decorate
trophies
the
come
set
from?
differently.
I'm the one who cares most about set decoration, and it's decorated differently.
Okay.
What we have here are 6 trophies of nerdy triumph and a photograph of yours truly with Mr. Alex Trebek from when I was a contestant on Jeopardy! These trophies come from being a 6-time winner of the University of Michigan Flint's annual History Quiz Night, which is like pub quiz organized by the history department at U of M Flint.
Yeah.
Now, I want to say that's awesome and all, but I took a 300 level class at U of M Flint before I graduated high school.
I greatly enjoy the fact that I never took a single history class at U of M Flint, and yet I have 6 times won History Quiz Night, defeating teams composed exclusively of history majors. I take unseemly and unchristian delight.
He does.
You should go to confession.
It is both unchristianly and unseemly.
I'm working on it. Or rather, I'm cooperating with the Holy Spirit as he works on it.
He's a bit of an insensitive prick about it.
But Jesus loves me anyway. So, we here at the Popish plot are nerds.
Yeah.
And we urge you to be a nerd also. But when we say be a Catholic nerd, there's 2 ways that could be taken.
Yep.
Okay.
We could be suggesting that you are a Catholic who happens to be a nerd, or
Be a nerd about your Catholicism. Now, there's nothing in the world wrong with being a nerd about other stuff.
Yep.
You know, people love to celebrate May the 4th as Star Wars Day. You know, Jimmy Akin has a great podcast about both Star Trek and Doctor Who.
Those are geek things, though.
Yeah, those are geek things.
All right, so here we need to parse the difference between being a geek and being a nerd. Jessica?
A nerd is someone who knows about stuff.
Mm-hmm.
A geek is someone who is a fan about a lot of stuff that not necessarily is intellectual like nerds. And when people get upset about this, they call me a Poindexter for pointing out the difference between the two.
Which is a very nerdy thing to do.
Yeah.
Specifically, the nerd is the more intellectual of the two, whereas the geek is simply a
Fan.
a very deep fan.
Well, again, using the example of Jimmy Akin,
Jimmy Akin is totally a nerd.
he's not only a geek about these things, very excited about them, but he's also a nerd.
Yeah.
He knows a lot.
And I say that he's a nerd with the greatest of love and respect.
Even admiration.
Yes.
I'm pretty sure he writes more books in a year than you read.
I'm certain he writes more books in a year than I read.
So, we here at the Popish plot are acknowledged big fans of Bishop Barron. Mm-hmm. And one of his big points that he's on about a lot is opposing dumbed down Catholicism. The Catholicism in which both Jess and I were raised. It was both beige and stupid. So,
And all the hymns were from the 60s.
and all the hymns were from the Gather Hymnal. It was
Very
horrible.
very uninspiring.
Well, we had a red hymnal that just had the same hymns in
Yeah.
it as long
Yes.
with the Gather.
Yep. It's like Gather Plus. But, so, I would urge you, yes, to be a geek about Catholicism. Mm-hmm. But more than that, to be a nerd. Not just to be excited about it, but to be smart about it.
Yep.
And to help you do that, I want to recommend 2 resources.
Ooh.
Actually, let's be shameless. We're going to recommend 3 resources. The first and most important is, of course, the Popish plot, where
Yes.
we always provide a high intellectual level of discourse.
Yes, you should really
That's a bold-faced lie. But we're trying.
Despite the fact that the Popish Plot only puts out material twice a week, on most weeks, you should really be watching the Popish Plot every day.
Just rewatch it.
Yep.
Just rewatch it.
Hey, have you caught up on all of our Lent episodes yet?
There were a lot of them.
No, I have not even tried.
Yeah, he hasn't even watched them because he gave up watching YouTube for Lent. So
I know. He was supposed to catch
There were
up.
so many things that... No, it was fantastic. I gave it up. And when I came back to it, I start going through to put things on my watch list. And I'm like, I don't need to watch that. I don't need to watch that.
But when it's the Popish Plot, you always need to watch that.
But there were so many things that I just sort of looked at and said, eh.
We're getting sidetracked.
Yes.
So, aside from the Popish Plot, let me also recommend 2 resources. One is Holy Trivia, which is a daily email from the fine folks at Flocknote, where they will ask you 1 trivia question and give you 4 guesses.
although
And
half the
multiple-
time
it's
you
multiple
don't need
guesses.
the guesses.
I'm not saying that they're challenging, but
There are some that actually make you work for it.
there you go.
But it's very good because for those of you out there who are like, I don't know, I don't really like trivia.
You love trivia.
Well, first off, you love trivia.
You know you do.
You know you do. But secondly, they do a very good job of balancing it out for people of all, we'll say intellectual levels regarding religious-y stuff and churchy things.
Churchy
purposes.
purposes and religious-y stuff.
Yeah.
But the nice thing about Holy Trivia is, besides the fact that it's written with an exclamation point, which is delightful, but it also does provide a balance. Some of it is scriptural, some of it is church history, some of it is doctrinal.
Yeah.
It's a nice mix. Again, it's not so deep that you just throw your hands up and say, "Well, I have no idea."
Yeah. Some ones I offer to some ones when I'm reading, I'll read them to Jess when I get them, and some of them I treat it like it is. It's a question with a multiple choice answer.
It's one of these 4.
Right. There are some ones where I treat it like it's fill in the blank because I already know that she's going to know the answer to this one.
Now, the way I like to do trivia is I don't look up the answers.
No.
I go with what I know, and if I'm wrong, well, then I learn something.
Yeah.
Now, Holy Trivia comes every day. The other...
Well, every Monday through Friday.
Every weekday, you're right. Because, we all deserve...
Because I've gotten questions on Friday and been like, I don't want to have to wait till Monday to find out this answer.
So then you just look it up.
No, I can't do that.
No, you can totally look it up after you've answered.
No, it just doesn't feel right.
Well, then you're just going to have to suck it up and wait until Monday.
Yeah.
The other is a podcast. Ooh. The Quizzical Papist, hosted by Father Brad Doyle of the Diocese of Baton Rouge.
Ooh.
That means red stick in French.
It does.
Trivia points.
I've discussed with him that they have several weapon-y names in French that get by because they're in French, so they sound interesting.
No. It wasn't a weapon. It was essentially a landmarker. Someone, like the natives, put a red stick in the ground to demarcate where each tribe's group was. And then when the white people showed up, they're like, it's the town of Red Stick, but we are French, so we call it Baton Rouge.
I cannot imagine why anyone would ever accuse you of being a Poindexter. The Quizzical Papist...
Totally is.
The Quizzical Papist releases 1 episode a week and provides, basically, pub quiz. You get a bunch of Catholics together, drinky drink in hand, and then you do some pub quiz with a particular focus on, churchy, religious-y stuff.
And
Churchy purposes and religious-y stuff.
And I like how each group makes a team name.
And you have to name your team.
Mm-hmm. Because sometimes they're like, we're doing super churchy, and sometimes they're like, all
Eh.
right, it's 5 people whose names start with G. We're the 5 Gs.
Well, the best is the married couple. Again, Baton Rouge. There's a lot of Cajuns down there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the Quibidos, who go by the Quizzidos.
So would we just
It's
go by
funny.
the Popish Plot?
We could, or it's entirely
How
possible.
do we get invited onto this?
Well, yours truly is in semi-regular contact with Father Brad, and I provided questions for the Quizzical Papist. The best way is if we pooled our money and then became Patreon supporters. If we were at a certain tier, we'd automatically be invited onto the show.
Oh.
Or maybe after we do this plug, something will happen.
I don't know.
But
Their first couple rounds are the hardest. They're like, the last one's the hardest. I always, seem to get that one, and there's like...
again, super nerd, so the harder it gets, the more you're engaged. You don't know the basic stuff, but the super deep stuff, you've got it.
Such a
Poindexter. So, but because it's pub quiz, it's also super fun. And this is the point. The Catholic faith is amazing. And if you're just showing up on Sunday, as good as that is, you're missing so much of the show.
Yeah.
The faith is like an onion.
It has layers.
There's always another layer. And the deeper you go, well, it's like a tesseract onion. Because the deeper you go, the more levels there are.
Yeah, showing up just showing up every Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like that. If there's right before like the intro to a TV show episode. There's always that little teaser. They put in a little bit of here's where we're gonna start the episode out at, and then they get to the intro. It's like if you just watch that and then turn to the next channel.
Yeah, you get the cold open without the whole thing.
Yeah.
So, no matter how much you know about the faith, there's always more to learn. And, sure, you'll run up against questions that you can't answer. And if you're like me,
That's when you learn.
you find that invigorating. It's like, ooh, I didn't know that.
I now have to go on the Vatican website to find a 16th century Pope encyclical.
It's actually a little hard. They've got
They
some that
don't
go back.
have the really old ones.
They've got some that go back that far, but only like the ones that like everybody knows.
They do have the councils.
Yes.
There's so much to learn. So, be a Catholic nerd.
Yes.
By all means, be a Catholic geek, but be a Catholic nerd. Don't just be super interested. Be smart about your super interest.
And really, while I can understand that there are a lot of people out there who don't want to be nerds, because once upon a time, that was a thing that had a really negative connotation.
I remember the 80s.
Yeah.
But
We've all seen.
Then they all took over everything and now are billionaires. so-
Exactly. As we've all seen, those are the guys who are really like on top of it all right now.
Well, listen.
You could be on top of it all in like a few years.
Listen, the cool kids co-opting nerdism, that's another discussion for another time.
Oh no, I'm not disagreeing with that. I'm just saying there's nothing wrong with being the Catholic nerd, because everybody, sure, people are gonna be like, well,
Although, just let's be clear. You're not going to become a billionaire by being super nerdy about Catholicism.
No,
and
but
if you do, good on you. Now you have billions of dollars to give away.
but you could be super saintly about by being a nerd for Catholicism.
And that's like being a billionaire in the afterlife.
Yeah.
Where those treasures, they actually add up.
So, for the love of God and all that is holy, be a Catholic nerd. Step 1, subscribe to our channel. Step 2, ring that church bell. Step 3, give this video a like. Step 4, comment below. And then steps 5 and 6 are to subscribe to Holy Trivia and the Quizzical Papist. Comment below with a trivia question.
Yeah.
What don't we know?
Can you stump the Popish plot?
Can you stump the Bible stud? Can you stump the Poindexter? I once met Alex Trebek, therefore I must be intelligent.
They're going to ask sports question, and we're going to be like,
Sports.
Wayne Gretzky, Michael Jordan.
But we love sports ball.
Sports ball!
I know the name Roberto Clemente. We know
3
stuff.
points.
We know things.
Oh, I'm going to answer Bo Jackson, because that fits multiple sports.
See, you know that. We're in good shape. So, be a nerd, and continue to be nerdy until next time. And
Until
while doing
then,
so,
remember to live your faith.
Love your faith.
share that love, and be a nerd.
Sports ball!
That's totally going under the end.
We'll have to do an episode one time about sports ball. The virtues of sports ball.
It teaches you teamwork.